Hello everybody, Admiral Ashyer here, and this will be my advanced guide to a Tier 6 build. Now, this one is not going to be like my previous video where you won't have to spend money or win things. I use all sorts of stuff and well beyond level 65, as I'll show you. I might ramble on for a while about different things and go into a lot of depth about things that are a little more complicated. Any questions, just leave them down below. Here we go. So, I'm sitting here in my ready room of my bridge. This is the Relentless. My ship is a legendary pilot warship, which you cannot get anymore, but this applies to any Tier 6 ship. I've made this one a Tier 6X with the experimental upgrade. So that means you get another device slot, another console slot, and another trait slot, which is really handy. This build is standard crit build for speed and critical hit and critical damage. It will work PvE undoubtedly, and most PvP, unless you're fighting against meta. But meta always changes, and I don't claim to be meta, nor will I try. This will be a decent ship to have fun in, or a decent build to apply towards anything you want. Alright, advanced piezo polaron beam triggers the technical overload, which can instantly disintegrate your target by having beam overload active and that on. That is just a hidden proc, and the advanced piezo polaron beam can be made through the reputation in the Lucari. Reputation wide angle from this one's disruptor from the discovery set. This is a sensor linked one, because if you look there, it gives you a defense and a weapon application. That's not when you're using it, that's just passive. So sensor linked I like. It's part of the Nausicaan set, which I'll use just to get even more stuff, because you get a 3-piece set on there, and then boom, hull penetration down there plus 50. You want that stuff. I like the Kelvin timeline torpedo because they have a 4-second recharge, and as I'll show you later, I must have torpedoes on my boat. House Martok 360, Nausicaan energy is another. This torpedo part of the 3 set, and there's a spiral wave disruptor just because, you know, gotta have at least one spiral on there because they're fun. The reactive armor catalyst is something you earn through the ability to make through a mission. The same mission actually that you get this, and you'd have to do it over again just to get this Delta Alliance reinforcements. It's fun to have. You must have a red matter capacitor because, boy, when you get a disabled system, boom, plus 25 power levels for 20 seconds. At least you're going to get to go somewhere and shoot something before you blow up. Okay, we got the modified shield. This is a Discovery shield and the Discovery warp, because this 2 pieces of that set will give you plus 120% hull regeneration. That's over what your current regeneration is. So the competitive engines from the competitive war game set that I use the prevailing inverted, because I want every time you do something with your tactical, it makes you speed up. This is a fleet protomatter deflector. You can only get these from a fleet and on the colony world. And I've got this on there because you've got all that other stuff, control, drain, stealth, but you also have plus 21.3 Starship weapon specialization. Boom, there's your crit hit chance, and then there's pluses for your severity and chance down below. They don't look big right now because I'm inside the ship, but they will outside the ship. Let's see here. Low Bay Council, number 1, Ultimates, Modified Swarm Posture. This one's not necessary. It'll put out that little green guy that follows you around, but it gives you more critical hit chance and a whole bunch of accuracy. This is another accuracy council. So that's accuracy, accuracy. That one is hostile acquisition. You can get that one through the Universal, or you can buy it on the exchange. The 3 low buy councils that I call the Holy Trinity would be the binaural infusion circuits. Look at that critical severity, plus 26.2% right there. Boom. Plus you get more hull capacity and control. Number 2, tachyokinetic converter. Look at that. You get critical chance and critical severity, plus flight turn rate and control experience. And the third one is the weapon sensor enhancer. Look at that, 42 accuracy. We got hull plating, control expertise. So those 3 pieces, the holy trinity of low buy councils. And here's my holy trinity of other councils that I put on every ship for attacking. House Martok, and this of course is 2 out of 3, so I do get an extra critical chance and more accuracy. And here we've got the assimilated module, which comes from the Omega set. You got crit chance, severity, weapon, and damage control plus control. Just this comes with that mission brush, or with the Omega. It just does everything in the Omega reputation. And this one comes with the brush fire mission. And then the third piece, of course, is the hardest one to come by as far as reputation goes in Discovery. Once you finish level 5, you can make Lorca's custom fire controls. I put this on every ship, plus 157.5 Starship shield penetration. You're not going to find much better than that for a single thing. Here's the third piece of the Nausicaan set in my science thing. It does add disruptor damage, and this is a full disruptor build, but once again, that 3-piece set, 50 Starship hull penetration. And then down here, these funny looking things are vulnerability exploiters you get through the spire at your fleet. And these, if you notice, are all epic consoles, so you got to upgrade them. Phoenix boxes, Phoenix upgrades, ultimate upgrades. I never use the ones that you get in game and you have to cost dilithium because it never gets you there. Phoenix ones are the only ways to go. Plus 9.8 crit severity, 34.5 beam weapon damage. On top of that, this one is a little different. It's disruptor and crit severity, but there's stacking crit severity, and disruptor plus the beam, which plenty of them are beams. And then this final one is called weaponized helical torsion, 15% more critical severity, and that one does phaser damage, so it does well on a phaser build, but I always use it on there just because of that crit severity. Plus it does its own thing automatically, turns into like a lawnmower in space for a little while. Let's see here. I will show you what I've got my crew set up for, and this ship is a pilot ship, legendary pilot ship. Here we have Magma 3 in the commander seat, and I'll show you why that must be. There's beam overload 3, key to getting that tactical overload and a lot of damage. Lambda 2 is to help you perceive those people who like to use Exodus, and it also lowers their perception, and it raises your accuracy rating whenever you use it. I like to use reverse shield polarity. It can get you out of a tight situation. Engineering team 1 is a heal, and that is necessary for another trait that I will show you down the road here. Emergency power to weapons gets bonus stuff plus bonus power, and it's also instrumental in another trait that I use. And then this, aux to bat. I will explain that when I get to duty officers. I always use spread because torpedoes are another thing with one of my traits. Chemosite laced weaponry is just fun. You gotta leave them with a little poison. Jam targeting sensors is also part of the trait setup, and very cool in space. One of the best science abilities you can do, because look at that, it freezes people in space, slows them down, and does damage to them. And it's an area of effect as well. Now, one thing that you need to know, that if you're doing it, I'm going to change this so that it's correct here. This is a pilot ship, so I'm going to set that pilot as primary. If it'll let me. It says active secondary. What's going on here? Intelligence officer, I'm going to set as secondary. But apparently it won't let me here, so I'm going to leave my bridge. Got to get out of your chair first, apparently, before you can leave your ship interior. How about that? Gotta love it. And I'll beam out. And that red alerts give you experimental ships and ultimate tech upgrade. It's just you can't complain about that. That'll up a couple of different things on your ship. Just doing that red alert, and they're simple. So I'm right around space dock in the Sol system. Here we'll be able to accurately look at things. Okay, like specializations, let's change it so that pilot is primary. Now it's active primary, and I'll make my intelligence as secondary, because there isn't a secondary specialization on this ship. There's just a pilot seat. Some ships have two, and you would slot their primary and secondary based on those two different seats. This one I put intelligence as my secondary when I don't have another one, because it gives me defense in space, and it gives you the ability to do flanking damage. But with pilot here, you get all these extra things. Like when you do rock and roll, you become immune, plus you get plus rates, magic carpet ride, all shook up, all those things activate, get these other things in danger zones, scratch the paint, you get shield scraping, just from having it slotted and running a pilot ship. Now, the pilot ships have that little thing over in the right above your thing that is a pilot maneuvers, and you use that by clicking your left stick in twice and pointing in a direction, and you slide that way or you roll that way while flying. You're immune while doing that, so that's pretty handy to do. Whoosh, boom. Alright, to get back to this stuff here, I said I was going to talk about my traits, so here we go. Traits here. Cold-hearted is very hard to get hold of, and it's good for Oxybat because it says Ox battery right there. Every time it happens, I make people slower and less resistant. You got to get that from a ship on the epic draw Phoenix from the Breen ship. Honored Dead, that gives you hit points to heal. This is another heal, the polarized weapon lattice. I like that because I take care of my heals and an area effect with those three. And now you get a third one here because of or a sixth one I should say. I call it third because I use 3 for damage, 3 for other. The sixth one, it comes with the X upgrade. So this first one here, supercharged weapons. That's why I like firing torpedoes. Every time I fire a torpedo, it stacks up to 3 times. I get plus damage, plus critical chance, plus critical severity. So crit, 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 crit. The more I fire torpedoes, the more I get crits. Assault Formation Theta is from the legendary Talis Warbird, and that is another critical hit severity thing, plus turn rate every time I use that. Attack pattern Omega, which I pointed out earlier, and then emergency weapon cycle is what makes it all work, and that comes with the Arbiter as its 5th trait for Starship trait. When you use it, emergency powered weapons, it reduces the cost and hastens your weapons. So, and you just need to do that because otherwise you're not firing enough. Down here in my space, more crit hit chance, faster bridge officers. Destabilizing phase array, I use that for PvP. You can trade that one out. This one, you know, you're going to go immune for a little bit of time, so someone can't just get you right away. Advanced engines, I like to fly fast. Crit severity, 20% more severity, severity, severity. I use adaptive offense and defense, use secret command codes, psychological warfare for that control ability effectiveness. Here's where that heal comes in. Every time I use engineering team 1, I placate everyone within 10 kilometers that have me targeted every 15 seconds. So I think that it takes about a little less than that for engineering team 1 to come around. So every time I press engineering team 1 or have it auto pressed, I placate people around me. I like to be accurate, elusive, and dodging there. Plus grace under fire because I am an engineer, so I automatically fix tons of stuff just because I'm an engineer, and miraculous repairs happens automatically. And this cools it down faster. Particle manipulator, always have that on there because it's the only way to get bonus critical hit chance and severity for your exotic damage abilities. That's that cold in space. It'll up the ability of that a whole lot. So now I will show you something that does change everything now. I've played long enough that I have 235 Endeavor ranks, so no matter what I do, my build's going to have 20% more hull, all that severity, energy, weapon damage, chance, resist, turn rate, regeneration, impulse speed, shield hardness, projectile exotic, shields, you know, it just keeps going, you know, all these pluses that you get as you go down, or I should say as you go up ranks, but down that list. And that's where a lot of strength from a lot of long time players comes from, is their Endeavor rank. Now in the duty officers in my active in space, I always use her because she's just fun. You need these technicians, you see, to do this auxiliary to battery. Recharge time for all bridge officer abilities is reduced by 10% from this one person every time I use auxiliary power to emergency battery. Now I have 3 of these people slotted 10%, 10%, 10%. So that means when I do something like I will use my red beam overload there, boom, and then I will hit that, it just kicked that down, but it also kicked down the other emergency battery which was cooling down, and they go in a circle. So I'm still firing at beam overload, and then boom, there, 2, 1, now I'm back into beam overload status again. It's a circle, it goes around and around, so that you just keep firing at beam overload. I like to have toys on my L1 button, but this is a just mean ship, so I have rock and roll there, so that when I'm coming at someone I use that rock and roll button, so I'm immune as I attack, and I get those bonuses because I've got it slotted as pilot. Just to point out some things here, a good way to figure out what cools other things down is to watch that wheel when you're at someplace safe like space dock, and you want to see, like, these two will conflict with each other, even though one's a pilot and one is attack. They are attack patterns. You can only do one attack pattern at a time, and it'll show you that by, if you use that power right now by using R2, boom, it cooled down that, because it says, no, I'm waiting for that to be done, because those two things cool each other off. So if you're having a problem with something not working, it might be that, so you should go around, press these different things and see what they cool off. That's the only thing that I have that's in conflict, which is why I have it executing 20 seconds after the start of combat, so that I get both. As we saw over here, obviously you can only have one of those running at the same time, and then boom. But that one cools down faster because that's what those duty officers did for that. Generally, I don't have more than one thing that cools each other off. But for example, if you know intelligence officer seats, there's one thing called surgical strikes. That will cool off beam overload. So you got to choose between surgical strikes or beam overload, because they will cool each other off. Meaning, you won't be able to use them both at the same time. Same thing goes with your science abilities. I can't use any of those here in space dock because, that's not allowed. All of your different toys are in this ring, but you can set those to automatic. And the best way to test these ships, and maybe if you want to see how good it is, you want to make sure that you keep your options set to elite for the game difficulty, and then you go to a patrol and pick one of these, and it'll be on elite, and you see how quickly you can do it. And that will show you how good of a ship you're running. Press the triangle button, and here we go. We're going to go out, talk to Stamets really quick, and then hang up on a Ferengi, and then start shooting whatever it is they've decided to throw at us this time. We shall find out. The 9th rule.
Looks like there was a fight.
Yep, there was a fight.
The Carter
And
is ready
here
to
we go.
assist you.
Off we go, this way.
Lead the way.
Yeah.
Sure God will follow.
And there's our Ferengi.
Leave enough of their ship for now.
And just to warn you, watching this on a video might make a little motion sick. I do like to fly fast. And often, you saw that spread there, it hit everybody. There's my overload's back again. I'm hitting these guys. Gone. This is on elite, so these are all elite. Just going. And you can use that pilot maneuver to get back into the fight there. Use that emergency weapon cycle over and over again to keep those weapons hot. Here's the overloads ready again. Turn it around. I'll face them so I can use the old very cold in space. There's the snow in space. Boom, boom, boom. These other people are going to hit that rock and roll. And you start flying around in circles. And is that everybody? Is there somebody else? Oh, there's somebody hiding over here. Now let's get him. Boom. And it'll show you those big yellow numbers. That's your first set of damage. It never shows you your crit, but as you see all those different things scrolling by in my chat box up there, you can see what you set it to combat. You can see what your secondary critical damage is. You can use this pilot maneuver to back up as well if you're not contained in a tractor beam, which I'm on right now. But suppose you flew past somebody, you just hit beam overload. Oh, I want to go backwards, shoot at him again. That's pilot maneuver. Just pull back on the stick and double click. Go backwards, shoot at him again. All these people showing up. Oh my god. Alright, now here's something to show you. One of the big things about that innervating engine, that impulse engine here, if I press beam overload, watch the time signature under my ship, boom, round and round and round, I go faster. So you get those fast strikes. Back up, take another swing at this guy. He's got a little thicker hull. And you can use your evasive maneuvers to do it. Oh, here comes that lawnmower in space. That is this helical torsion. You can see it also shooting out purple blobs at them. And the other circular thing that's going around is the automatic for my torpedo spread.
Well, there's good news and
Let's see the bad news. Let's not tell them we have the spores, huh? Oh, we're going to go to Madrid here, and we're going to... Yeah, right. I'll pass. And we'll fight whoever this is. And we've got same deal. So it can be a great thing to test with a pixel. And when you've had enough, especially in the pilot ship, you can just go, oh, I've had enough of this. I'm going to use my evasive, use my pilot maneuver, and just fly away from you people because I have the information that I need. And once it's done with red alert, you can just hold your X button and go to abort. Also, if you're trying to level up a ship's mastery, I would recommend Elite Patrols because they also give you tons of Starship experience. Depending on the ship, you can master an entire ship with all 5 levels with one. Maybe you do the patrol called Wanted. There's tons of Kazons in that will give you tons of experience. So I think that's it for this time, guys. That's a tier 6 build. I just kind of ripped through it. I ripped through the traits. I ripped through the abilities that I use and stuff. One last thing, when you're slotting bridge officers, these people I've chosen not for their bald heads, but because they have traits, officer traits. When you're slotting people, you can see like this Bajoran here. She has no space traits. They're all ground. But the Romulans, like this Romulan, has plus crit and crit severity, reduced cloak cooldown. This guy's a pirate, so he's got bonus damage and perception. Nausicaan dude. I chose this because they got restorative stuff plus hull regen, and I have Romulans. So I've got 2 Lucari officers, which you can get at your fleet colony world, and 2 not tactical, but 2 space Romulan bridge officers, which you can get from your embassy and your fleet embassy after a certain level. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.